Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to join us for the webinar today presented by Cincom, Delivering a Simpler Sales Experience with Dynamics 365 for Sales. I'm Lisa Cummings with Internet Artists, and on the call with me today I have David Allison and Joseph McMahon from Cincom, and they will be presenting the webinar. So I am going to go ahead and hand it over to David and Joseph and let them get started.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll just give a quick background on Cincom, our history, and a little bit of our experiences, and then we'll talk about CPQ. So Cincom's based in Cincinnati. We were founded in Cincinnati in 1968. We have 50 years of experience in software and database technology, ERP technology, and then in 1999 we launched Smalltalk, and we also launched another product called Eloquence, which is document generation that's popular in industries like financial industries, insurance industries, healthcare industries, industries that are heavy with document generation. And we've been doing about 15 or 20 years in the configuration space, so in CPQ. What we'll want to do is just show you a little bit about our depth and experience using company logos. We like to just use logos. Hopefully you recognize some of them. Companies like Rolls-Royce and Siemens, some medical companies like Helmer, Carrier, and Train, and even Texas Disposal Systems. So one of the things that you might notice on this slide is, and you'll hear us talk about repeatedly throughout today's presentation, is configuration of products and configuration of complex services or delivery of fulfillment services. So as we've moved through our last 15 years with working with Microsoft, we've noticed kind of a little bit of a trend where a lot of companies in services are starting to wonder what is configuration and how can they kind of digitally optimize or digitally transform their business. And we started about 15 years ago working with Microsoft. We are a Microsoft Gold partner, and we're also have a joint go-to-market initiative with Microsoft for our sales solutions. And kind of gearing up towards what is CPQ. It essentially stands for Configure, Price, and Quote, and it's a software designed to help your business automate and optimize, among other things, manual processes. And kind of in a nutshell, Configure, Price, Quote technology makes it easy for your customer, and it makes it easy for your internal employees to deliver products and services. We like to talk about products, complex products, and also complex services. We're noticing a trend in the CPQ landscape, and we like to point to Gartner because in 2017 they did research on this industry, and they found that globally in 2017, $1.1 billion was spent in the Configure, Price, Quote industry. And they also predicted that would grow by 25% year over year through 2022. So that's very significant. And one of the trends that we've seen working with our partners is, again, kind of manufacturing and complex manufacturing. We're kind of leaders in this space. And now we see companies that are fulfilling a service are also starting to adopt CPQ technology. When we talk about, making it easy for your customers, we do want your customers to have a business to consumer experience. Kind of the gold standard is Amazon. Everybody says it's easy to buy from Amazon. That's why I shop at Amazon. So we want your customers to have that experience, and we also want your employees we want to make it easy for your employees as well. It's really important. So eliminate spreadsheets, eliminate manual entry, automate some of the other departments that are involved in the sales quotation process, such as engineering might frequently get involved with the sales quoting process. Automate some of the engineering tasks associated with it. We want to give everybody in your company visibility into the sales channel and into the pipeline. We want to make sure that your sales team is building fast and accurate quotes, and everybody else affiliated with the quoting process or the delivery process is confident that once the customer places the order with your sales team, everybody's confident that a finished product will be delivered or a service will be delivered. We talked a little bit about CPQ, Configure Price Quote Technology, and we want to talk a little bit about CPQ Sync by Cincom. And there's some real differentiators here. Our big focus again, make it easy, simplify your process. So Sync is a cloud-native solution designed to provide a simple way to quote complex products and services, making buying and selling effortless. So again, we touch upon the real important part, which is make it simple for your customers to buy from you and make it simple for your employees to deliver what your customers bought. The same theme appears again in the demo. You'll see this. Whether you have a product that's complex or a service that's complex, don't worry. Sync up your business and sales together so that everybody has the same visibility. There's no informational silos, marketing, engineering, manufacturing. They can all see what's happening in Sync by Cincom. So let's talk a little bit about sales managers and the business side and the sales team. What is important to them? Right? This initiative is really geared towards sales, and we want this initiative to help your company drive sales, drive profitability. So for a sales manager, some of the things that they might see is they want to be able to create revenue for the company, and then they want to report on it. So Sync by Cincom will help give them those reports. We'll leverage existing Microsoft technology like Power BI to help deliver easy dashboards, easy reporting systems for the sales management. Another reason why sales managers like to use Sync by Cincom is because they want to be able to quickly train new sales reps, and they want to make it easy for their sales reps, which, guess what, helps to retain that talent. Frequently, we encounter companies that struggle with attracting good sales teams and retaining good sales teams because of the processes involved in building sales quotes. So we want to kind of eliminate that. When it comes to sales reps and the people actually using the quoting tool, they're going to love it, right? They're going to be able to deliver a quote rapidly. Everybody's going to have confidence in that quote's accuracy. And Sync by Cincom delivers something called Cincom guided selling. So for example, your sales reps are not going to have to keep a bunch of tribal knowledge in their heads to memorize part numbers or product numbers. Instead, they can focus on their customer, the end customer, and they can focus on what does the customer's desired outcome. And with understanding their customer and the customer's desired outcome, then Sync by Cincom can actually use our rules engine to help guide them towards the proper configuration. Another reason why customers love Sync by Cincom is because we leverage Microsoft's technology. And one of the big, very important things to take away from this is that we're native to Azure. So we are a multi-tenant solution, cloud solution, and we're native to Azure, which means there's no pop-up windows when your sales team is configuring a product or configuring a service. It's a seamless integration to Dynamics 365. And why is that important? That is important to a sales manager because it helps with user adoption. So if your business team takes the time to, invest in your company and invest in your sales and marketing team, you want to make sure that people are using the tool. And since there's no pop-up windows, and you'll notice this in the demo, when David gives you the demo, you'll see the seamless transition. It's very important for user adoption. Also leveraging Microsoft technologies, we have open APIs. So one of the nice things about this is if you want to use Power BI, you don't have to reinvent it. You can use Power BI and integrate that to Sync. So there's also workflows. And when David gives you a demonstration, you'll see that there are Dynamics 365 workflows on his screen. And again, we're not here to recreate that. We just want to help you with the configuration aspect. Dynamics 365 technologies can take care of the rest. So with that, I think maybe David, if you're ready to go, you can take control of the screen and give us a quick demo. Then we'll have a summary.
So Cincom CPQ is built on top of Dynamics 365. So we have an app available. So when we load up our app, it is built on a unified design. So what that means is we are able to provide the same look and feel and experience as a 365 sales user. So if we go into our quotes and look to create a quote, what Cincom has added is the ability to add configured products to this quote. One thing you'll notice right away is we do take advantage of quote process within 365. So you can utilize the quote workflows and work you've already done, but just integrate the CPQ part to help build accurate and quick quoting. So when I click configure product, we're going to see our product configuration load up within the context of the quote. So in this case, we now have 3 configurable products that the salesperson can select from. These products are from your CRM product records, and those are brought into Cincom CPQ. So in the first step that we're doing within our configuration is guided selling. So in this case, we may not know what frame that our prospect needs, but we want to ask them a handful of questions so the system can determine what frame best fits them based on their needs. So in this case, I as a salesperson may not know the products, but I do know exactly what my customer is looking for. So if I ask them what type of service they're going to ride the bike on, what the height of this person is, whether it's a women's frame, then the system can actually determine which frame best fits that user. So when I select my surface and then type in my height and then select my women's frame, you can see that the system automatically selects the road frame. So as a salesperson, I didn't need to select or understand the long list of frames that are available. I just needed to understand the needs of my prospect. The next selection we get into our option selection. So many times when we're configuring a product or an advanced service, we may have a large set or series of selections. It's important that between these selections, we maintain that all selections are valid, which means it's something we can build or something we can sell. If we allow our sales teams to select things that are invalid or not compatible with each other or something we can't build, then it adds more process, more time to help push the quote through the system. So what CPQ adds is the ability to validate that the selections the user makes in configuration are compatible with each other. So when I click on the handles drop-down, you'll see that we do have selections that are red, which indicates that this selection is not compatible with the current configuration. So when I select this, I get a prompt that tells me that the selection I've made is incompatible with the breaks I've made on the UI. Our compatibility engine works across multiple selections. It's bidirectional, so what it means is a salesperson can select their values in any order. They're not forced to kind of make selections because they're forced to, they can actually sell and select the way they choose. So in this case, I've selected this durable lightweight selection, but it has an incompatible selection with this brakes. So what I can do now is either change my handlebar selection or change my brakes to make this a valid configuration. So now I'm going to select alloy, which now makes this valid, which now means that I can click apply, and now my configuration is now valid. So while fairly simple, long down the stream, this allows us to process a quote faster because we're not having to validate that all the selections are compatible. And when it is time to go to order, we know that what's been selected is something that we can build. So this helps save time and make the quote process much quicker. The last step that we can do now is provide whether or not this has a warranty. So you'll notice that when I clicked the warranty checkbox, that a new section in the configuration appeared. So this allows us to build a dynamic user interface so we can hide and show things based on the needs of the salesperson as well as the role. So we do have the ability to tailor the experience based on role as well as based on the process and where the quote is. So in this circumstance, I need to provide some calculated fields to determine what warranty that this customer should get. So in this case, the system is going to allow me to enter in the miles, and then it will figure out how many miles I'll ride per year, and then what best warranty fits that scenario. So in this case, I'm going to enter the miles per week. You can see it then calculates, and then I can enter the weights. And then the system will tell me that based on that scenario, that this user would need a gold warranty. Again, in this scenario, we're selecting a selection based on input, and this helps new sales teams or new salespeople provide the best options for their customers and quickly expedite the quoting process. So when I'm finished making all my selections, I figured out the frame, the bike selections, and figured out the warranty. I then go to my summary. Here we have a sales BOM of all the components that are necessary for the bike. You'll notice that a lot of these components were not in my selection. So the system determined, based on the questions, based on the selections I made, that these are the components that I should select for the bike. This sales BOM is a high-level summary, which can be used downstream when you start working with manufacturing. So now that I click Save and Return to Quotes, all the information that I've selected and the pricing is now saved back to my quote. Now that I have a quote product, I am now need to generate a document for my prospect. When I click Generate Documents, we will now go out to our document engine. This document engine is used in multiple industries to generate different types of content. So in this case, my proposal is generated. We get a cover letter with the information from the quote, information from the salesperson, and then a breakdown of the products that they've selected. Once we've sent out the quote to our prospect, and now that they want to purchase, we can now activate the quote and move it through the process. When we click Activate Quote, what we are doing in the system is validating that the products they've selected is priced correctly, that it is a valid configuration, which means we've selected all the right combinations and they work together, and that we've made all the required selections. So if it's complete and it's valid, we can then move it downstream. If it is not complete or valid, then the quote cannot be activated, and the salesperson will have to go and resolve any conflicts. Again, this is about pushing the quote through the process as quick as possible, and by catching these errors up front, it just means downstream it can move through much faster. So in this case, when I click Activate Quote, everything in the system is valid, so now the quote is activated and ready to be pushed through to order. So that concludes the demo of CPQ Sync, and then I'll pass it back.
Thanks, David. I really like the way you demoed the native, truly embedded experience where there's no pop-up windows when you click the Configure to Quote button.
All right.
Yeah. Kind of just real quickly move into a summary and then turn it back to Lisa. But for like a little bit of a summary to recap some of the conversation about CPQ, Configure Price Quote Technology, and CPQ Sync by Cincom, the goal is to really simplify your customer's buying experience by giving them an easy business-to-consumer buying experience. And when you do that, you simplify some of the cumbersome, error-prone, and slow configure price quoting process. And again, this is like spreadsheets are a telltale sign of a cumbersome and error-prone process. Multiple stakeholders involved in the quoting process, that's another sign that you might need a configure price quote solution. You want to be able to enable rapid delivery of high quality quotes to your customers and improve your competitive edge. When you quote faster, this will enable things such as chasing other quotes that you don't have time for. So it's important to understand the fast quoting process. You want to be able to leverage Microsoft systems to provide an easy, seamless quoting experience, which David hopefully showed you. And you want to be able to enable the business side of your company to gather quick information and monitor how their sales team is doing and see that through clear performance metrics. Kind of in closing, what we did show you was the front end, and we showed you that it's easy to build a quote. If you'd like to see how easy it is to maintain the system, please, contact Lisa if you'd like a full demonstration of the product. For sure, there's no coding required to maintain this system. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, David and Joseph, for your time today. That looks great. And like Joseph said, if you have any questions, you can contact myself, Ashley, or Chelsea, and we would be happy to answer questions or schedule a demo for you with Cincom.